Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So in this video, you're gonna be learning on the process on how to create high converting ads copies using Cloud AI. The first thing that we want to cover in here is like understanding the type of ads that we're gonna be starting to find or we're gonna be finding through the process of when we are doing our research, all right, for understanding more about how our competitors are running ads for their products. One thing that you want to know, guys, and you may know already, um, which is basically like the style or type of the ads that we see here. So, for example, you are seeing this ad here. Okay, we see this ad that they don't contain the product. They don't have the product, like just this one here. But if we scroll down, you're going to be finding multiple of them, kind of like a pretty similar style. So here in supplements, when we are doing supplements products, we used to find this a lot. Okay, those are called native ads. They look more like a regular post on Facebook. So, one thing that you're going to be finding on these ads, this type of ads, is that the copies that you, for example, this copy here, okay, so that you're going to be finding when we open the copy, they are or they used to be like a long form copies. Okay, so as you see here, so we have to scroll a lot to kind of like get into the image of this ad. So, but the thing is, like the most of them that are like that, they just kind of like have these long form copies. This is of course something that is well known as when we're running ads. We're running ads for different top of the different part of the funnel, right? Like people could have awareness about the product. People may not know about a product. People may know about the problem. Like it's depending on the stage that they are about the product. But of course, if we are kind of like introducing a new product, so a new supplement, we want to kind of like make people to understand. We want to communicate. We want to kind of like teach people about our product. And the way that people used to kind of like get in contact with that and get more understanding about that is using the native ads and kind of like having a storytelling here, you know, on the copy. So now we need to know this just because if we are creating copies and we are doing native ads, we need to consider the long form copies. So for example, here I'm going to be showing you, for example, if I scroll down here and I show you, let's say, this actual ad that contains or has the product, when I click on that, so you see that the copy is like a short, right? So same thing happen if I try, for example, let me see if we find something else. I'm gonna try this. So you see, like a short copy, short form copy like for this one, it's kind of like also how the product has like a low one. It's not as a rule that is going to happen every single time, okay? But the most of the time, you're going to be finding that. You're going to be finding that when you have the product in the visual, okay, those are more for a different part of the funnel of the sales funnel, right? Like the people that maybe has been already in contact with the product, and they know about what this product is, and then we just kind of like try to push the offer more through the ads. Okay, so but when, for example, we come with images like this, you see they used to be kind of like a long form copies. So now that we know about this, so I'm going to be showing you like the process that we used to follow, okay, for creating these high engaging ad copies for our ads. So okay, so the tool that we're going to be using for this, guys, is going to be Claude. Okay, it's Claude AI. So now, why Claude? So Claude is kind of like a well known for its, let's say, um, uh, popularity or um, about being a AI that do like a really good copies and work really good in the copyright. Okay, I would say that if we are looking for communicating to our customers, in the best way possible, so I want to use the best tool that create copyrights or do the copies for this purpose. So which in this case, Claude is perfect for that. So The first thing that we need to know in here, or that we need to do in here, is just making sure that we are providing context. Okay, so how I provide context to Claude. Okay, so and this is kind of like gonna be the most simple way to do it. Okay, so we can always consider other tools like creating projects, creating skills, right? So that if we just want to go with a product that we are developing, we just always consider the conversation in a new chat, right? So we come here and then we start kind of like a talking with the AI. But we need to provide context, okay? So the way that we're going to be providing context is making sure that the AI in the conversation that we're going to start in here knows about our product, right? About what our product is and also what is the angle that we are trying to hit to solve this problem with our supplement. So for this, we're going to be using a prompt like this. Okay, let me just place here. I already have the prompts ready to go as I'm going to be sharing these prompts with you guys, or you're going to be finding these prompts here in this video. So you see that, for example, here, we have this prompt that says, here I'm sharing the foundational documents for my product supplement. I just want you to review them and understand the product, as well as the angle I'm trying to develop for this supplement. So now, if you're following the videos, right, at this point, you should already know about like what is the angle that you're gonna be developing for your product. So, which in previous video, I explained how to use the skill, okay, for giving you the angles for your products. So then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be giving those four documents and you're going to be providing them to this prompt. So this is what I'm going to be doing now. Let me just bring it. Okay, here they are. Okay, so here are the four documents that are created by the skill that you guys already had access to. So you should already have this information about the angle, right? Like for example, we select a specific angle, okay, and it gave me like the deep research, the customer avatar, necessary belief, and the offer brief. So now, one more thing that I like to have in here is the actual um, product brief. Okay, so you always guys want to have a product brief, right? Like a part of your documents. It's a basically a document. I think that, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to share it here, but it's basically a document that has kind of like a short explanation about what your product is. Okay, kind of like with the most important information, what it is, what it is for, if you have any brand information that you can have there, something short. Okay, so and I talk a little bit about this in this video where I explain like how to create these documents, but always having this brief is going to kind of like work with us for giving context or prompts to any AI that we are working or we are talking to in a, let's say, it's like a quick way, right? So as you see here, I'm kind of like asking this and then I'm providing these documents about the angle that I'm going to be doing, which with the all this information that you see here, but also I'm providing the understanding in general about the product. So for example, if I already have it, I could also kind of like providing here the actual um this is the supplement fats, right? Like if I have the supplement fats already, so this makes sense for me to have it in here because this is going to give more context about my product and this is universal for this product, right? So then you see I provide the context, I ask this, and then I just request. So now here you see it's kind of like understanding, analyzing the documents, understanding the whole context about the product. So you see that it's kind of like saying as like this product, the name is Byron, it has these ingredients. So the angle, okay, that we are trying to hit with this actual product based on the four documents that we get from our skill is going to be blood work says I'm fine. Okay, this is the actual angle that I'm going to be working. Where you see here that is kind of like a giving me analyze about all of this. So now that I have this, so the next thing that I'm gonna be giving now that it has the content, the context, okay? So the next thing that I'm gonna be requesting is to the AI is kind of like do the work, okay? So what is the work that I want them to do? So for this, I'm going to be using this prompt here. Okay. So now I want you to add as my ad copywriter, and I will provide you with a competitor ad copy for inspiration, and I want you to deconstruct the framework they are using so you can create new ad copy for my supplements. So I will also provide you with my image ad, so the copy you create is fully aligned. So the copy you create is fully aligned with the visual. This will be for meta image ads. So for the computer inspiration, I will only provide you the ad copy, which are the primary text, headline, or description. So I won't provide the competitor's image ad because I want you to focus specifically on the copywriting framework they are using. Okay. So now that I kind of like tell you that hey, this is what I want you to do. Okay. You are going to just kind of like use this prompt here. Okay. And then request. So now that the AI is going to start understanding everything about what I'm trying to do, okay, got it. I'm ready to act as your copywriter for Byron Meta Image Ad to make sure we present something that actually converts Marcus, not just generic supplement copy. Here is what I need from you: the computer ad copy and your image ad. Okay, so this is optional. Okay, but you see that if you give more information, it's going to do it even better. Okay, so in this case. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to start sharing the competitor ad copy. So now here is where our work on taking the right data is what is going to be the most important thing, right? Because the thing is that now I'm gonna be analyzing, I have to have my competitor, so the competitor that I'm following, I need to start analyzing what are the copies that are winning for them based on the data that I have in here, right? So for example, I'm having these ads that were launched on the February 5th, February 20, December 16 the last year, okay, for this specific one, which is also a long style form copy. So we have this from the March 21st, from December 26th, okay. So we have multiple of them. So what we have to do in here is like provide this information to the AI based on the actual flow that I'm following. So I'm gonna be kind of like getting into, let's say that I'm gonna be taking this one here, right? So I'm gonna do it with one of them, okay? So that's why research is always important, guys. So you just take the one that you want to kind of like replicate or recreate, and you are going to be giving this into a document, a Word document. Okay. So why? Because you need to give all more information and to avoid confusion to the AI, because when you put it with the AI directly, it's going to kind of like create a new document for you there, and then you need to add more information still. So then in here, you just come here, and then you insert your ad copy inspiration from your competitor. So then here, what you do, guys, is you just paste, okay, your copy, your ad copy, and then you do here primary text, right? This is the primary text. So I'm gonna just highlight like this. So then now I'm going back into this, and I'm gonna be taking the actual headline for this one, okay? So I copy the headlines. You see, this is a long copy. Okay, I paste this. I just paste without formatting. Okay, and I identify this as the headline. Okay, so I'm gonna be bolding this just for me to see it. Okay, and then this one here is going to be a copy inspiration number one. Okay, so this is everything. So now, in this case, I'm going to be giving just one of them, okay, because this way I can create kind of like a multiple of the copies for each of the images that I'm going to be providing. So, and that's something that we need to consider too, right? Like that we already have the images, we know what are the images that we are using. So now we are creating the copies that are going to be attached to those images. So then, in this case, I'm going to just kind of like start with one, and then I can take, for example, this inspiration, and then I can have this inspiration to be on multiple of my images, right? Like for the ones I'm going to be creating. So now the image as is going to have kind of like a multiple context. So you may need kind of like a different copy for each of the images. You're going to be seeing it on a moment in the practice. So now that I have it here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click File. I'm gonna go download, and then here I'm going to download this as a Markdown, okay? So Markdown documents are pretty good for shading, okay? And I'm working with the AI. So now that I have this, I'm gonna be providing the add copy inspiration, or here is the competitor add copy inspiration. Let me know when you're ready, and I will share the my my image app. Okay, so I just provide the inspiration. Okay, including everything. So now you see what it's doing here is basically deconstructing the actual copy. Okay, so how this copy structure is. Like start with the disarming specific opener. Okay, so then the configuration layer, the flow decline. So like this is the actual structure that the AI is recognizing from this actual competitor. Okay, so now that we have this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be providing this prompt. So this is kind of like basically the third prompt that I'm providing, which is basically the image. So now here is my ad image. I want you to create an ad copy for my product based on the image ad while following the same copywriting framework used from the competitor ad copy. So please keep in long form as similar in style, structure, and flow the competitor ads copy, but adapted to my product and aligning with my image ad. Okay, so now that I'm kind of like delimiting what I need, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna be providing the image ad, the first image ad that I want to do, right? So now, as you see here, I'm gonna be providing, okay, one image. So what I can do is I can just run this. It's going to create my first ad copy. But then if I have another image, I can just ask to the AI to do it now for a different image. So in this case, we have the image one, okay, and then I'm going to run this. Perfect. So here is creating everything. Okay, it's kind of like recognizing the image. You know what is the content on the image, and then here is giving me the primary text variant as a long form confessional. Okay, so here is primary text. So I'm 42 years old, and last Tuesday I woke up before my alarm for the first time in the 3 years. That probably doesn't sound like much. You know, it's gonna kind of like tell the whole history here, but you see it's kind of like a giving it to me in the long form format that I needed. So this is what I need. This is like the first image. So now, as I have, or you guys may have multiple images. So now that I'm following this structure, right? So what I'm going, I mean like the copy structure that we are taking from our competitor, the inspiration. So I want to kind of like keep around that inspiration in this case. So what I need to do is I need to provide the other images, right? Like here is the second image, okay? It's still creating the first one. So which actually is giving me kind of like also the headline and also kind of like the description if I want to use any. I don't suggest to use a description in here. Just use the primary copy and then the headline, and that would be everything, okay? So in this case, so it's actually giving us kind of like also two alternative hook that we can consider for our copies. So, okay, here is another image. Here is another image. All right. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is going to be creating like the copy for that image add to. So then here, you see, it's kind of like a giving us like a this. So if that picture makes something tightening in their chest, this is for you. I'm for two last Tuesday at 2:45, 7 p.m. I was so it's kind of like a give a similar copy, right? With the same structure, in this case, like the long form copy. So now if I want to change this structure, right? If I want to do it different, so then what I have to do is I have to kind of like find the other ad copy inspiration that I want to do from my competitors, right? Like let's say like, okay, so I already have that one. So let's say that you want to follow now, let's say this one. Okay, so you say, okay, I'm gonna be following this one now. So then you're gonna be doing the same. So you get the whole copy of the ad, right? You copy, you open a new document here, okay? So I would suggest to do in a new document, okay? And then you are gonna have first your primary text, okay? So so then here you're gonna be having the headline, okay? And then you just go for that. So in this case, they doesn't have any headline or just they have. Let me just, I think that we have to just go up here, see the summary details. And yeah, they are using this headline here. Okay, this is the headline that they are using. So let me just copy and paste as a without format. Okay, so perfect. I have this. So I'm gonna be calling this was the ad copy inspiration number one. So this is going to be the ad inspiration number two. So then I'm gonna be able to download this as a markdown, and then I can provide again. So here I have like the second ad copy. You see it? So I have copy for this image for the other. So if you want to change the structure, you can do this as this is a new copy inspiration. Okay. So then and you can bring this here. Say here is a new competitor ad copy inspiration. Deconstruct this, and once you're ready, let me know as I want you to apply this for a different image that I have. Okay, so then you ask. So the AI is going to kind of like, okay, perfect. It's going to now deconstruct this one here. Okay, it's going to understand the whole structure of this ad copy. And then what you have to do next is just provide the other image. So in this case, just to show you, here's another image example. Okay, so I can actually use this one. Yeah, so this one is okay. Or I could use, yeah, this one is okay. This is one of the other images that I have. Okay. So I'm going to be using the same prompt that I use here when I provide the first image, okay? The same prompt, and then just paste, okay? So once it's ready with the deconstruction here, okay, which is kind of like a taking the whole information. So we're going to be able to kind of like run this second one for this actual image, okay? Here it is. You see, I'm ready. Send the image whenever you are. Perfect. Here is the prompt. Here's the image, and then send. So now here is creating the other one. So you see here, primary text, if you are a man over 38 and you have to start keeping private lists of things you have noticed about yourself, so blah, 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 so everything, guys. So the thing is that we need to just kind of like have the flow, okay? I'm gonna be leaving the actual prompts here for you to follow this process so that way you can replicate it. So what is important is have enough context about your product at the very beginning for making sure that the AI is understanding what our product is, and of course having kind of like a two or three competitors that you can take inspiration from, and then you can provide it to the AI for deconstruct and do something pretty similar.